All right, looks like it's 6 bells, huh?
It is.
Well, should we get out of here tonight?
All right, the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gotta save the Queen. All right, here we are tonight. Walter, please call the roll.
Mr. English? Present. Mr. Armstrong? Here. Mr. Kenworthy?
Here.
And Mr. Weissman? Here. We have a quorum.
Yippee-dee-doo-dah, yippee-dee-day. All right, I guess you all have a copy of the minutes in front of you, or have one, or received one. Oh, there they be.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Thank you.
I will second.
Discussions? What do you feel like talking about last month when we were here? Walter?
Mr. English? Yes. Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Kenworthy?
Sure.
And Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
4-0 in the affirmative.
Mr. Hollenbeck? Haven't seen you in a month and so.
Now that I've thawed out, it's cold out. The zone of properties rezoning, as recommended by the Plan Commission and as the commissioners approved on first reading, will have its second and final reading on March 16th. And we can then put that task behind us. We will have a zone of property that's no longer rural residential, but a park.
Yay.
Overlapping that effort as we continue to try to get the zoning appropriate for our properties, Walter and I are focusing on the Hawk Ridge and Brink Across properties as the next two that need changing. Again, they are rural residentially zoned. A couple of reasons we picked those two, not the least of which, I still need some clarity from the staff at the Plan Commission because, as you know, we farm some of our properties, and we don't want to zone ourselves out of being able to farm the property. And I'm not sure, certainly I suspect, I know this, if it becomes zoned parkland, we can't farm that property. I don't know whether we can farm it if it's rural residential. And I've asked for some clarity from Bob Thompson on exactly what do we have to be able to continue to farm the property. So we need clarification from the Plan Commission on that. And as he did with the zone of property, Walter approached Bob Thompson, and he's very accommodating and very willing to walk Walter and I through the process. And so hopefully expeditiously we will get done with Brink Across and Hawk Ridge, and in the interim we'll learn what we need to do on the properties that we're farming, so we have zoning that preserves our entitlement to continue to farm the property. Answer any questions anyone may have.
Akiki's already zoned rural residential,
Well,
and we were farming it. And it was farmed before we got it. Akiki is rural residential, and we were farming it before we got it, so.
This is a novel thought. We're trying to get the right zoning on these pieces of property, because, like you said, it's been farmed for years, and it's rural residential.
That's a can of worms to start opening in this county.
But
there's a lot of rural residential that is being farmed.
But I think it's appropriate that we get this zoning, so we have the proper zoning. And at this point, I'm not clear, you may be able to farm in rural residential. I don't know. Walter's shaking his head yes.
I was going to say, there is a ton of ground out in Morgan that's rural residential.
Rural residential allows for agricultural activity.
Okay. So then those properties that we farm, we need to keep as rural residential.
But what if, so what's Brookdale now?
I believe, that one's still rural residential.
I didn't...
But we're using part of it for a park. So where do we win here?
That's going to be the question, right, of how we handle that. We figured we'd start with the two that we knew were easy.
And that's a good question in the sense that we may get to the point with some of these properties where we pause our zoning changes for that property to keep it eligible to farm, with the idea that once we are in a position to stop farming it, we will have to go back and change it to park property.
Makiki is still rural residential, isn't it? I thought it got changed.
I thought I had it in my head, I had it at P1. That we
In my head, I know it's two.
P2, I'm sorry.
P2, it's P2.
That's what I thought we had.
Because when you sent me that list,
Yeah.
it was,
I remember the list, I don't
but it was,
remember what...
there's something in my head that says that got rezoned.
Yeah, I recall that as well.
I mean, I don't open it, too wide, but sleepy
Yeah,
dogs.
it's P2.
Okay. The grandfather. It's been farmed forever.
Absent any other questions, I believe that's the end of my report.
Heard from Mr. Sawyer?
Pardon me?
Have you heard from Mr. Sawyer?
No.
Okay. All right, that's all. Don't spend any more time on it.
I'm not spending any time on it at all.
I just wanted to.
I paused because, Walter, what did we get? Oh, all has happened, and I'm not working on this at all, is he sent me a copy of the letter that he sent to Gus Olympus.
Okay.
Isn't that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And I have heard nothing since then.
That's the wrong tree to bark up. Oh, well. All right. Anybody else got anything for Dave? Well, you guys are all quiet tonight. All right, committees. What do we got going on? Anything fun?
Didn't have any committee meetings this week.
Okay.
So, status quo.
Status quo. All right. This is going too quick. This is
It's just going to blow up on me.
all right. Staff reports.
So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I believe this is the longest list of items I've ever brought to a park board meeting. So I'm going to go as efficiently as I can. Number one, I just wanted to acknowledge the staff and thanks for all the work that went into the program guide. As usual, the response was very positive. I have a couple extra here. If someone needs one for some reason, they're available, and we have a bunch in our office. So if anyone has a place that it's appropriate to leave a stack, whether it's a hardware store, a bank, or something like that, you have connection with, let us know, and we'll be happy to take them and drop them off there, if that's possible. First, so I'm going to start with things that I'm asking for some action or contemplation on, and then go to a bunch of updates. The first one is driveway sealing. I'm asking for authorization to sign that agreement and get that on the books as soon as we can. My concern is that if we wait too much longer, we won't get on the schedule in the next 60 to 90 days, and then we're in the full throw of activities, and it'll be way too difficult to close it off to do that.
Did we get verification of what was going to be sealed?
Yeah, I believe I sent an email that he had hand-drawn all the sections to confirm, but it's everything.
Well, we discussed it in January, and we just wanted to make sure
Yep.
what we were talking about.
Yep, Matt and I had met, and he talked with him, and that guy, he sent several drawings to confirm that it was everything we're looking for.
Can you review with us what everything means?
Yep, absolutely. So you come into the park, the driveway past the gatehouse, where it splits, the whole circle will be done, with the exception of the gravel Sunset Road. The, if you want to call it, parking pad inside or in front of the farmhouse is included in that. And I can't remember if they just around the turn or if they're going up to the new road. So bear with me a second. I'll pull that up. In the meantime, water was fixed on Monday, so that is all good, and staff are incredibly pleased that they no longer have to go to a different building and go to the bathroom or carry water out to the animals.
Carry one up the hill both ways. Do a driving snowstorm against the wind. Oh, that sucks. Ooh, we got that. Cut it so there we go. Oh, look at this. Potential transfer requests. Just got that. Look at those. Somewhere here, somewhere. La-di-da-di-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I'm not sure where it is right now, so I gotta find this. Like, I know it's the loop for sure, all the way out to the road, the whole parking lot, and the pad in front of the farmhouse. But I don't remember off the top of my head if it includes going from the farmhouse to the towards the amphitheater.
That's one of the sections that really needs to be done, is from in front of the south side of the farmhouse, out to the new gravel.
Right. Yep, I agree. Oh, here we go. I think I found it.
Who's gonna do it? In the seal?
Yeah, it goes up to where the new road is paved. That makes sense. And it also
And you
includes...
say the pad in front of the farmhouse, what about the pad in front of the maintenance?
Yep, I was about to say that, but it's also the area in front of there that's not gravel. Yeah.
Now, will they seal the new pavement in front of the bin?
I can't tell if that's on here in this drawing, but for that, I mean, I can't imagine.
Because then we'll have to talk about repainting, won't we?
Yeah, we'd have to restrike the whole thing.
Okay.
But I can follow up for sure,
Yeah.
and
Let's just go with it.
okay. I can follow up and find out, and if it's in the cost, and then if not, we can just, if we're okay going ahead and signing it, then we can at least get on the schedule and we can figure out that final step if we need to.
I believe after we talked about it, excuse me, in January, Carl, didn't you text or email something about one of the companies? You said they had good reviews.
Yeah, and it's the one that we looked at.
Okay.
I mean, it had the most reviews and had the most positive reviews, so
Yeah.
I think...
American Seal Coat.
Yeah, I think we're...
Yeah, in his email here, he says, there's a couple driveways that can't be seen well in the picture. I'll be doing these also. If you want to get the silo circle done, I could adjust the price to $16,550, so it'd be about $2,500 more.
Wasn't the silo just done?
Yes, that's new asphalt.
All right.
So, I mean,
That doesn't need to be
doesn't
done.
really need it, no.
Costs money. Okay, what are we doing?
All right, so you feel if the circle in front of the bin is omitted, just leave it omitted. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Mr. Kenworthy?
That's what I'm thinking, it's only 2 years old.
Okay.
I mean, there's no sense in spending $2,500 to seal 2-year-old asphalt.
All right,
Let it cure.
I'm okay with that.
So how much are we agreeing to spend
Is,
on the asphalt ceiling?
it's 14 something.
Yeah, 13.8 is what's in my head, but I don't... There's a lot of things in there.
At least you got something left.
13.7.
Okay. Someone want to make a motion to spend $13,700 on asphalt
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
Mr. Me.
Yep.
Wait a second.
I'll second that motion.
Would we like to have any further discussion?
We
Are we
discussed
good?
previous, so I think we're good.
Walter?
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Kenworthy?
Yep.
Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
3-0 from the, or 4-0 from the affirmative, excuse me. All right, thank you. One of the other details that we need to take care of now is we got funding through Soil and Water Conservation District that's help being managed by Save the Dunes Council. The funding covered the cost to do prairie restoration up at Hawk Ridge County Park. It was just a little bit north of $10,000. So we will receive that funding. This is a reimbursable grant, so we need to pay the contractor, and then they'll reimburse us. But the first step is we have to create the fund, or we have to ask the commissioners to create the fund. So I don't know if this needs to be an motion or not, but I want to just make sure that we're good with Dave and I going to the commissioners to ask for that fund creation.
I think it should be a motion, so.
Perfect.
So
We-
moved.
Every other one we created with a motion, so.
I'll second.
Discussion on previous motion? Walter?
Mr. Kenworthy?
Yep.
Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
The more
Well,
work we can give the
affirmative.
commissioners, the better.
All
They're
right.
not busy enough.
All right, event contracts and additional requests. I had previously sent all the digital copies of all the different agreements that I had. My budget is based on all of those numbers currently.
What were some of those contracts?
So they include,
Look, can we do them like two? I know there's a couple for music, there's a couple for the theater, or movie screens, and then there's one for someone to pour beer.
yeah, so that's the beer garden.
That came out, when did those come out? They were out in February, I just looked at them. Park board agenda, yeah, they were last month. Yeah, sometime in February, where did I see those at? I just had them 10 seconds ago.
They were a couple weeks, a week before that.
The week before?
Yeah.
All right, pictures, bill of sales.
I have to start bringing my phone in, because I don't bring my phone in here on purpose, so I'll have to start bringing it in. Thank you, I got them in my shirt.
Here's a seal coating one. I found that one. 2/2/21 they came out. 2/3/21 for a big band. I think that's a band one. The ones on 2/22 or 2/2/21. One is here they are. This is events, marketing, consult, logistical layout, blah, 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 permits and taxes, insurance, applicable law. Boy, there's a lot of words here. Dave, have you looked at these? Have you looked at any of these?
Yes.
Okay. Not getting ourselves in trouble anymore? I saw on the ones for the movie screens that we'd already paid a deposit.
We did, correct.
Is that correct? Was that last year we paid said deposit?
Correct,
And then they just held it over because we got it canceled?
correct.
Okay. All right, and the two movie screens, they're there for drive-in movie nights, correct?
One is a drive-in. The first one in May will be a drive-in. The one in June is currently scheduled to be at the amphitheater.
And that will be, and those are movie nights. Are we charging for those?
So the IAC grant doesn't allow us to charge an admission fee,
Oh, okay.
but what they do allow is for folks to make a donation or for a parking fee. So my goal is if that we're okay with any of these to move forward, for those 4 events that are funded by the Indiana Arts Council, the 2 movies and the 2 new musical performances, we're going to be partnering with the foundation on that and figure out the details how we can recoup the costs. And I'm also seeking sponsorships.
So we, April 16th of last year, we gave them the deposit of $450, and so we there do $750. to move forward. So we're already $450 into both of these, right?
Correct.
I'm going to ask a question. If we decide not to do this, we lose our dough, don't we? Is that a refundable deposit?
Probably not, but I also wouldn't, I mean, yeah, I'm just going to...
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm just going to say probably not, to be safe.
All right.
I'm assuming.
Well, we could read it, figure out. Yep, they're non-refundable, but they are transferable for a period of up to 1 year, so we don't have much time. All right, you guys want to do the movies first? All right, do you want to make a motion so we can discuss this, or it's up to you guys?
I will make a motion that we discuss the movie nights.
We have a second. Or it dies on the vine.
No, nobody wants to discuss it. No movie. I'll second it.
All right, Brian's a second. Okay, now, ooh, look at this one. This one's... Why is one... Walter, why is one so much more than the other one?
The drive-in package is more expensive.
By quite a bit.
Correct. It's a different screen that gets set up, and it also includes the FM transmission, so you can hear it in your car.
All right, just so, since you guys don't seem... The drive-in movie one is a total of $3,750. We've already paid a $450 deposit on it. So we have due by 5/22/21, $3,300. All right, that's that one. The other one, for the amphitheater, was for a total of $1,200. So what we're approving right now is $1,200, and so $3,950 is what we're approving right now. Well, we've already spent less $900, because that's already, so we're approving $3,050. To come out of what expense?
That would be out of event expenses.
Out of events.
Did I misunderstand? You've got a grant to pay for this?
Correct.
Okay.
This is, the Indiana Arts Council grant that we received for this is below the threshold of $5,000 where it needs fund creation.
So this is paid for then?
Part of it. It's not 100%.
How much is paid for?
It's probably around 50% is being covered by IAC, my total costs. For all four events.
All.
Because the IAC grant is also for the 2 new musical performances.
How much was the grant?
I think it was almost $4,000, like $3,800 or something.
Okay, so, all right. All right, does anybody want to have any more discussion, any more questions for Walter for the movie screen night? What?
I don't know.
No, sir.
Walter, call roll.
Mr. Reichman?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes?
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
And Mr. Kenworthy?
Who doesn't like a good home movie? Sure.
Right on. I tried convincing people that we should do a double feature of classic movies, do a Charlie Chaplin and something similar, like a Marx Brothers, and I keep getting told that's not going to sell.
I think we could do something like Meatballs and Porky's.
Family friendly, my friend. Family friendly.
Meatballs is, isn't it? No.
No.
Probably not.
No.
Sorry, guys.
Definitely.
Did I could put on the...
In a house full of adolescent males? Yes.
Oh, okay. Guess we got another target on
There you
here. I'm sorry, I missed the target again. All right, let's go to the next one. What do we got here? This one, that's for the screen. I'm done there. We have one for South what? That's another movie package. I've got 2 in here for movie packages.
There's 2 separate agreements, one for each
Okay.
event.
Well, this one's for the Max marketing people.
That's the beer garden.
Now, we're paying them $500 to set up a beer garden? Is that Did I read that correctly, or did I not read that correctly?
Yeah, there's a fee that they charge
Okay,
for their services. And the good news is that they come with the expert, and let me start by saying that the agency that's doing this, or is asking us to partner with them, is the same company that does the Valpo Brew Fest, the Valpo Wine Fest, the Munster Ale Fest. It's the same company. They have successfully delivered Margarita Fest at Sunset 2 years in a row before 2020. They sold out both of them. And
$800.
this particular activity, the pop-up traditional beer garden, they've been doing with Milwaukee County Parks for the last, I believe, 2 or 3 years. That's been very successful. So what it looks like, if I can describe it to you, is the area around the Hickory Shelter in the woods adjacent to the playground would get fenced off. And then within there, they bring a number of nice picnic tables with umbrellas that are all branded by a specific beer, so that he has a partnership with the distributor. So it's all traditional German lagers, so it's very traditional German style. It's intended to be family-friendly, so there's no...
What about Pokies?
Yeah, this is not the type of event that people sit for 4 hours at, right? Because it's done during the day. It's only going to be a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's our first rollout of trying this. We're trying to keep it simple. And we're also taking into account that we're going to have to deal with some restrictions as well, right? So we're not going to get that many people, period, into that confined space. But we've worked out the budget that we both feel confident that there's going to be a net profit for both of us. And again, this is based on our previous engagements together, as well as he shared with me some of the stuff that they've done with Milwaukee.
Is this coinciding with anything else, or this is standalone?
I believe that Saturday is the South Shore Brass Band.
Okay, so there is another reason for people to come besides
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
this is not a standalone. Okay.
Yep.
And there is a way for us to recoup our $800, what did I see, $800?
Oh, yeah, there is, I don't have a doubt in my mind that if we can pull this off the way that we're talking, there'll be a nice net for us.
So equal to 60% of the net profit is the incentive fee?
Correct.
So that means we get 60% of the net?
We get 40.
We get 40.
Correct.
After they take the 800?
Correct.
Yeah, Shark Tank, where are they? Residuals.
Well, you're paying for them doing all the legwork and the bulk of the marketing. You know, we're going to market it as well, but they have the machine that they use with their list of all the people that have attended all their events here in the past.
Okay.
So all the people that have attended Brewfest, Winefest, Munster Ale Fest are going to hear that this is going on.
So you're going to, this is kind of be like an Oktoberfest then? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yep. It's very traditional German beer garden.
And
We already know that some things we're going to have to exclude. Normally, they do steins. They sell steins.
Yeah, I see glassware on this.
Yeah, we're guessing we're not going to be able to do that this year right now. You know, they do the whole thing with the boots. And we're assuming at least right now we're not going to be able to do that. So we're not sure how we'll handle food. Usually they do like, brats and pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we'll have to decide as we go. I will say that so far, Sheila from the health department has been just awesome as I've worked through the event plans. So I've been giving her our documents as they go, and then she gives me feedback if there's any edits that needed. So far, they're thumbs up on everything.
And when is this?
That would be June 19th, 20th, and 21st. And I did not choose the date, so I didn't do it on purpose on my birthday. Promise.
Okay, all right. Do we have to get a motion on this? Or am I still asking questions?
Motion to approve the beer garden.
Have a second.
I will second it.
Further discussion? Walter?
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Kenworthy?
Only if they have more light.
Put it in the cooler back on.
There'll be a special board member section.
That's good.
Mr. Runciman?
They don't sell Miller Lite.
Thank you, Brian. You sit on the other side like you are right now.
Well, I gotta have a buffer in between us when we do that.
Back of the bus. Good there.
It's called me Switzerland.
Yeah.
Oh, now you want to drink Lightning. All right, there's that. And we got one for a brass band, which coincides with this. I do not know where, there it is. Blue Ridge Midwest Big Band? Yep. Grand Ridge, okay, what are we
Those
paying
are
for
the two
these guys?
performances.
Looks like $1,200 to be paid upon arrival, either cash or check.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that coincides with the beer garden we just okayed, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
And they will,
So seconded.
they will take them 2:30, 45 minutes, take a 30-minute break, and then,
And I'm sorry, is this for both the South Shore and the big band, or is that just the big band?
I don't know, I'm just looking at the South Shore, I think, I'm looking at the big band right now. I didn't see the South Shore, but let's do this one first, and we'll do the other one.
Okay.
All right, we have motion and second. Any further discussion? Walter, call the roll.
Mr. English, I'm sorry, Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Kenworthy?
Sure.
Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
There we are.
And Mr. English?
Yes.
Now we have one for a brass band on June 19th. That's the same weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Midwest Big Band got moved to May, hold on, bear with me for just 1 second. Yeah, there was an error in the when we did the contract, so that was my fault. It is May 29th.
Okay.
So the drive-in is May 22nd, and then the big band's May 29th.
Okay. Cheers. 2-hour performance with a 20-minute break. Yeah, that's pretty good. Band will appear in uniform dress, provide all music and music stands. Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion for $3,000? Come on, Drew.
Come on.
This the big band?
This is a big band for $3,000. Must better be a big band.
Motion to approve big band.
Wait a second.
Carl second.
Carl, second.
Carl second.
Further discussion on the Band of Giants. God, I'm sorry.
Just 4 guys that are 7 foot tall.
Yep, that's a big band. Oh, you got a bunch of midgets for a small orchestra.
About to call it all.
What I got tonight, huh?
Yes.
Mr. Kenworthy? Sure. Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
And Mr. English?
Thought I
Yes.
was coming to the park board meeting. Didn't know I was coming to a comedy club.
I have the cat in my head, I'm on my way out today.
Just remember, Dave, the 5 o'clock show is completely different from the 9 o'clock show.
Is it sold out, or can I still get a...
No, we'll always take your money. Take your waiters and waitresses.
All right, let's carry on. I'll stop with my side marks.
No, you won't.
You know.
Fred, where do you go?
All right, we got the contracts done. What's next?
The last one is the agreements for Prairie Magic, which we don't have all of them yet. And that's frankly because we're waiting to see what's going to go on. The headliner, we've agreed in principle on the number that, again, is the same as it was in the budget. But we were holding off with her until we found out what's going on here if we're going to move forward with it.
So we can continue to hold off, or what are we going to do?
I'm asking for permission to move forward with all of them. I would get the contract from their manager. If our headliner is still okay going forward, then I would, I'll obviously forward you all the contract. I don't expect any troubles with it. These guys are pretty good, just like all the other ones we've worked with are. And I believe we had agreed before on 14,000 or 14,500.
How much?
I think it was 14.
For 1,000?
Correct.
For one person?
Yeah. Well, one band.
One band. So what's this one for, well, here's one for 3,000 for, don't know who this is. Jackie Vincent?
Yep.
And then we got another one and then there's another 1,500 for somebody else. I don't know who it is.
Free.
That's the free?
1,500 is the fee that we paid to Brightside.
Okay. And we have all this budgeted and blah, blah, blah.
Yep, we do.
All right. We gonna have a music show this year, guys?
Let's hope so.
Yes, we are.
Who says we are, so he made the motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Further discussion? How's the bus?
Two states have already lifted the mask mandates. So.
I know. Yeah, we'll see how that works. All right, we have a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Where are we at? We're on 8. So, Mr. Kennedy? Sure. Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
And Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
4-0, the affirmative. So-
Tonight, don't you, Walter?
I'm sorry?
He said you got us spending money tonight, don't you, Walter?
Yeah, right.
And I agree. I feel like I'm sitting at work signing POs today. God,
Yeah.
50 grand a day, like this.
Yeah, those days occur with us. It is. But yeah, frankly, now the real work begins, right? That we can start marketing and start selling the tickets and start arranging all the details, selling sponsorships. So this is just the first step. But the second step...
Give the staff something to do.
The second step is how we want to handle some of the funding that we need. One of the conversations that we've had before is that the 2020 budget is the same as the 2019 and the 2020 budget. So for the last 3 years, we've been told to hold the numbers, but our services and programs have changed. So the budget this year calls for additional revenue out of the non-reverting fund. After the January meeting, where our additional was switched to a transfer, I rethought how we wanted to do this. So what I have given you now is kind of one sheet with 2 options, if you will. One that we do a transfer request for a couple of things. In addition to, we need to get the first aid CPR training, and we have a conference registration we wanted, or I want to do right now, get that done. And then some of the advertising for the events. The advertising budget is still based on the 2018 program guide, and the current guide ate up all the $31,000 that was already approved. So everything else is above and beyond that in advertising. So I'll share with you that the conversations that I had with council members, they all seemed okay with doing the additional, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that the conversation had been going on as well about a transfer if needed, and let the park board decide how we want to do this.
I guess I'd say we try for the additional before we go move the money around. If that's what I'm understanding.
Please.
I understand the advertising need. Now, what about the first aid CPR training and conference registration? Was that in the original budget? That money
It wasn't
already?
Correct. It was in my working budget for 2021. It's always been in there. But again, that number that I'm working off of for this year is different what the approved budget was, simply because of the mandate of you're going to submit whatever you submitted before and then make your changes. You know, this is similar to, I keep reminding people about the tourism decision, right? Well, you better keep that number in your budget, but you're not going to get the money, right? So a lot of it, frankly, is a little confusing at times, but I have no doubts, again, that everything that we're doing is still going to end up right where we need it to be.
So our first aid in that, if that's the difference in what the price was in 2018 and what it is now?
No, I don't know that for sure. I couldn't say that. But what we were doing for training and education in 2019 is not what we're doing, or 2018 is not what we're doing in 2021. We're doing more than we were in 2018, for sure.
Which one of these is in Papa I got to blow a blood vessel over? I mean, which one, I mean, I know blew a blood vessel over the other one. Which one is, what did they suggest we do out of the council?
So again, the original conversation at the January meeting was, why are you coming to us with an additional, just do a transfer, and you can come back to us later.
So they were suggesting doing transfers until we run out of money, then go to the additional?
Then after that, my individual conversations with council members has been, no, just ask for the additional. Just get it over with, get it done, and let's go. Get your stuff out there and go do it.
Well, I'd say either way, you've got a good case for the advertising. You tell them, hey, we're out of the advertising money, we need more.
Sure. And I will also say that I think there has long since persisted, and there still is a little bit of confusion on the non-reverting fund and how it works. So the individual conversations with council members was really helpful for them to understand how we operate those programs and services.
I'd say the additional. Gentlemen, which one do you prefer? And let's make a motion. We can discuss further.
Additional appropriation?
Yeah, I'd say
So I'd make a motion to go for the additional appropriation.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion required? Walter?
Mr. Eisman?
Yes.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes?
Mr. Kenworthy? Yeah. Two things I'd like to share. Number one, first of all, thank you. This was a big deal to get this going. So I appreciate your trust and your diligence. We're going to have a really great summer, so thank you. Second, I'll give Craig the fair warning that when I spoke with Mr. Rivas, he said, well, is your president going to come with you? And I said, I don't know.
To where?
To the council meeting. So you may get a note saying, hey, can you join us at the council meeting? Just a heads up.
Yay.
Yeah.
I gotta sit through school board meetings down in East Porter County.
What's the date on that, Walter?
I believe it's the 23rd? What's that, the Tuesday?
23rd of March?
Yeah, 23rd, because it's fourth Tuesday.
Ooh, that's spring break.
Yeah, I know.
And they meet right here. Don't they meet like 5 p.m.?
5:30 usually is their start.
5:30.
Yeah.
I'll come if I'm here. I will make an effort to make it.
And
If not,
if not, we'll make representation somewhere or another. And what time did you say, Walter?
5:30 is their meetings usually. They have not posted the agenda yet, but generally speaking, it's fourth Tuesday, 5:30 in this room.
prefer to have your mind numbed.
Okay. This is the last request for either any action or feedback. I had a great conversation with Mr. Price from the NIPA Club, and he was asking me about what the plans were for the animal move. It was primarily around the concern of should we be planning to move the campground or not at this point. The coincidental thing was this came up during our staff meeting on Thursday. That Thursday, staff wanted to know, should we add this to our plans? Should we start scheduling this and making sure that we have the budget? So I'm asking you guys, do we want to make a decision on this? Do you want to just pick it again?
I don't want to kick it.
You know, I didn't want to make that call. I didn't feel I was in a position to do that.
How long does staff feel like it's going to take them to build the pens to move the animals?
Oh, it's going to be a couple weeks, for sure.
Well, I know that, but I mean, timeline-wise, does NIPA have a national show this year?
Yeah.
Is it the national this year?
The next 4 years are big.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not
There's
waiting 4 years.
really awesome shows coming up, like big ones. Yeah.
Really big shit.
Really big.
Really big shit.
Okay.
Probably ought to start getting it done.
Who did you say talked to you about this?
Mark Price came and visited me.
Can we get some what's going on?
Mark
simply
Price.
Yep, he simply wanted to know,
Payne?
Jesus, Payne, I'm so sorry. Why did I say
Okay.
Mark Price? I don't
Okay.
know.
All
Yeah.
right.
The prices?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Does that make sense, Drew?
Oh, yeah, this makes a whole lot of sense.
We got three people in Nipper looking at each other like, oh, who the hell's that?
I apologize to Mark.
If I could see their faces, I probably. I personally, we've been kicking this move the animal thing down the road for about 2 years now. And if we don't finally say move them, we're gonna kick it and kick it and kick it some more.
Pull the Band-Aid.
Yep. I say pull the Band-Aid and move them.
Where are we, Walter? We've got materials bought, but you still need more materials, right?
Correct, yep, there is more, I apologize, off the top of my head, I don't know all of it, but I believe it was about half the budget, half the supplies we needed,
And
we've already acquired.
I think the last time we suggested getting the infrastructure started to be put in there. You've got electric out there.
Yep,
You gotta get water.
And you need to get water out there.
and if I recall correctly, most of what was purchased was infrastructure related.
Okay. And, I mean, I don't know how much of that they're gonna be able to do right now.
You're not doing anything.
And then once spring hits, they're gonna be busy mowing and that.
Yes,
Do you foresee them being able to get this built before September?
I do. Well, what we're able to do now. Now recall that we're not gonna build the whole thing yet.
Well, that's where I'm getting at.
Yes.
There's still room to have camping up there and have the construction going on.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because we're not building the whole thing out right now.
So at this point, we can go forward with the animals and still coexist with a campground for a September
I have no
show,
doubt.
right?
Yeah, and as I shared with Mark and others in the club, whatever we can do to make it workable, we're going to be happy to do. In fact, one of the things that Nicole and I met yesterday about a number of things, and we both agreed that the next thing we need to do is to see if we can get on the agenda of directors meeting and just start going through some of this stuff, because we got to get cranking on the education day for the skiing show. We want to make sure that we know all the details for the festival in the fall. We want to talk about how NIPA's going to be involved in all of these events that are going on with us. So we got to start planning a lot of details right now.
So you heard we're pretty much a go on the music festival, so you guys can get that in the calendar for tractor shuttles. But I think a lot of this is coming from, we discussed moving the campground over towards the music theater, and then now, the croquet thing is kind of still up in the air, so I have a feeling there's some members in NIPA that are afraid they're going to be a club without a country,
Gotcha.
for camping.
Gotcha.
So that's probably where it's coming from, but to me, I don't know why you still couldn't have camping in September up there in the campground,
I think it's totally reasonable.
and still move forward with getting our infrastructure in and beginning construction of some of the pens, things like that. Nicole? Oh, that's not Nicole?
Yeah, well, we can address that. Yeah. We're not afraid of being flexible, that's for sure.
Get a couple of pigs and we can have a hog roast during the Nipper show. There I go again. All right.
So, are we to a point where they can do something up there in order to start getting things moved in?
Yep.
Do they have a trencher to put a water pipe in?
No, that we're going to rent that this year still. Because we wanted to do the,
Well, here, let me throw this out here. I mean, if Cleveland did a nice job repairing that pipe, why don't you talk to him and see what it'd take for him to come in and just put you a quick water line in?
sure, that's not a bad idea. But I want to make sure folks know that the idea was we were going to rent the trencher for a certain amount of time, and during that period when we would rent it, we're also going to dig all the trenches for the cabling for the distribution panels. So the goal is to put all of that underground this year as well.
Good idea.
Because that's going to just, frankly, it'll be a game changer for winter lights. To be able to do end events, it just simplifies so many things. Makes it a lot easier for Jack, quite frankly.
I guess the only thing I see is, with the maintenance staff, it seems to me is stretched a little thin on a lot of stuff, getting things done, and to take on, a project like that in addition to all the other stuff they're trying to get done. That's my only concern.
Sure. I don't think Matt would be checking to make sure that we're able to go forward with all this unless he had confidence that they were going to accomplish it. I got faith in our guys. I definitely do. As long as we know ahead of time and we can plan on it, we can get this done.
Is that, we're waiting for a motion?
Are we?
No, I think he just, I don't think
Just being quiet?
I don't think we have to make a motion, we've already told him, he just wanted to know where.
Do it.
Yep, we're on it.
There you go.
Awesome. Oh, my Lord, we're getting a ton done. All right, I'm going to blow through the rest of this COVID response plan. Just a heads up, we are updating that document, working with the health department and EMA again. We had the realization, primarily Nicole had the realization that we set as programming is ramping up now, a lot of the procedures and requirements that we had in that document are no longer valid, I guess is the word I'll say. So we're going through and updating that to make sure that whatever we're going into, our policy and our procedures line up with what we're actually doing. Additionally, what we're also doing right now is prepping for if we go to 75% capacity this spring, so that the document and the changes will be ready to implement if we get to blue, right? Of course, we also know that if it happens, we're not making a change like in 30 days to some of the larger stuff, right? So we have to be realistic about how fast we can do things if we have to hire new staff or get new supplies or something like that. Because if we go to 75% for summer camp, we're going to have to hire 2 more counselors. So that's not a bad thing. It just, we have to allocate the dollars. So just want to make sure that you guys knew that was coming. I'm hoping I'll have a document in April for you, for the board to review and approve for us going forward. Mullins property planning is going really well. I apologize, I just got all the drawings today from our GIS coordinator. He was able to provide a bunch of desktop analysis work for us, including the topography, wetlands, boundaries, all that good stuff. So we are moving forward with that. I was also able to meet with the non-motorized transportation coordinator from NERC. He is thrilled that we're moving forward, and he is more than happy to work with us on identifying how we can craft the project so it is most successful seeking funding. So my next step is to contact Mr. Bronson at the DNR and have a chat with him. Land and Water is due in June. I frankly don't know if we'd be able to put that together by June. There's a lot of work that goes into it, so it may be a 2022 thing, but I want to check with Bob first and see where we're at with the funding. So things are going well with the Mullins property. I believe the planning, or the development and stormwater department, we're out at Brookdale today. They are assisting us with the development of the pathway around the farming area. So they were staking out the boundaries of that buffer, and then Mr. Graber was going to take the drone over to do shots, and then that could be overlaid on our maps as well. So we'll have a really nice process going for the Brookdale Trail. The Smith Restoration, again, is doing well. Shirley Hines is now completing their, all the pre-work, their analysis of different parts of the project, and then as soon as the weather clears a little bit more, they're going to go in there and start with the woody eradication and spraying of the invasives. So again, that project is going well. We got really great news from NIPSCO. Said they're not going to charge us to put a meter in at the campground. I spoke with Matt today. His estimate if we wanted to light everything up, i.e. the privies, the shelter, and both cabins, his estimate at the high end for the total cost would be $3,600. I'm not saying that we're doing that right now. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that we're kind of prepping that and planning it. What I shared with Matt is at least if we can get the meter in, we can begin planning, I hope, to put in a well. That's the number one thing, is having water out there for folks. So I'm super excited that NIPSCO did that.
Where do you plan on putting the box?
We want to put it as close to that area as possible, to like where the message board is and the privies in that area, so it's as short as run as possible to the other facilities.
Are they gonna are they burying it, or are they putting it on?
They're burying it.
They're gonna have to put a transformer out there?
I don't know.
And once they set the meter, do we have to start paying NIPSCO?
Only when we hook up to it.
So they'll set the meter and not charge us until we hook up to it?
I believe so, but I will double check, I will confirm.
I don't want a meter set and us
That's a
paying
great idea.
$40 a month for
Nope,
a meter that we're not using it, no matter if we're
I
hooked to it or
have
not.
not thought about that at all, so thank you. I'll confirm.
I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
we pay thousands of dollars a month for water that we don't use,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Whatever
absolutely.
it is. So, yeah, if you would look into that, that's,
Yep. Yeah, we're not doing anything yet, just wanted to make sure people are aware.
okay. And then one thing I think we need to be cognizant of is when we do run that meter back, that power back, even though we do own that house on 700 now, we got to make sure there's an easement that we go up through,
Right.
that if something ever happens, we can get back to it. I mean, that's going to have to be a dedicated easement, or
Yeah.
to keep it out from underneath the road,
Right.
okay? I mean, I'm sure NIPSCO will, but we just got to
Yeah.
be cognizant of 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever from now,
Yep.
if we eliminate that home or whatever from our inventory,
Right.
that we can still get there
That's great.
if we need to.
Yep. The other project that we've discussed is the fiber optic connection to Sunset Hill Farm. I have met with our IT director and NIPCO. IT, as I assumed was going to happen, was able to convince NIPCO that the things they were trying to sell us were not things that we actually needed. So it forced them to go back and sharpen their pencil. And we're waiting on that number yet. And in the meantime, Mr. Serrano has met with the county commissioners and shared his desire to assist with the project. My understanding of the response is, hold on, there's a long list, you're kind of down, we're not saying no, but there's no money that's been allocated for it. So if the number from NIPCO comes back reasonable, which I'm assuming it is based on our conversation, my hope would be to begin fundraising for that. I think it's a great project for a couple of our local organizations to support. It's kids doing STEM activities, and it allows us to start doing virtual programs. So that would be really awesome. I've also unofficially started on some planning for the work on the master plan, rather. I have contacted the agency that helped fund the survey. Last time, I have not heard back from our friend over there yet, but I'm hopeful. I would like the board to, again, consider how they want to do this. If you recall, 2016, when we started the last one, April was when we formed the committee and started putting it together. So just ask people to be aware of that.
We're going to have to budget for that too, aren't we?
Yes.
That's not cheap.
No, it's the survey itself could be, close to 20 grand.
And we have to figure out where that money's going to come from.
Well, I'm going to go back to IR again. That's my first stop is with them. The National Association of Realtors has a really nice program that pays for things like this, and the fact that I still hold my license kind of helps us out, quite frankly.
Okay.
So that's my hope, is they can take the bulk of it. I believe Mr. Heller is starting our building assessments now. He stopped in to let us know that he was going to begin that project. He wanted to go through, identify all the locations, come up with his schedule, but he said he's actually going to start this weekend, probably, going out. So we should have some data coming back by the April meeting, to begin populating that chart. And then, last but not least, you know what, I missed my arrow. How do we feel about Mr. Hill paying for benches and an interpretive sign?
Oh, he's going to pay for it?
Oh, yeah, he's going to pay, him and Doc McAfee are going to pay for the whole thing. They just wanted permission to be able to do it. The nice thing is
Ken Hill.
where they want to do it, is already in our plan. Like, that's one of the main connections between the trail going south to the campground and Roller Coaster Hill. There's that big open grassy area, so we've always thought that would be a nice spot for some amenities.
Who is he?
Mr. Ken Hill?
Yeah.
All I know is that he's a friend of Dr. McAfee's. They cross-country, they love cross-country skiing at Sunset together.
Okay.
And hiking there, and
Ken Hill, I know, is an orthodontist. Maybe
I've known Ken for 35 years.
I'm just curious, I've never heard,
Environmental company.
He's retired now.
Did you do orthodontist?
I say yes.
again, I assumed, but I don't want,
He's always been very environmentally inclined and sensitive and involved. He lives out there on the channel between Long and Flint Lake.
Oh, okay.
The intention,
You see him there, he knows Armstrong.
Dan.
Yes, Walter.
I'm sorry, the content of the interpretive panel is intended to be about transportation corridors and how that particular area played a role in historical transportation corridors. So that's going to be the design of the panel, is to talk about that and then what it's like now.
Do we need to make a motion to accept this wonderful, nice, and generous donation? Or just say, do it?
You say panels, you're not talking like billboards, are you?
No, I'm sorry, yeah, the same thing that we have now, the 24 by 36 inch laminate panels on the steel stands, so the exact same design. He's going to pay for the woman that we use, the design layout lady, Melissa Washburn. He'll pay her, since she already has half of our stuff. She'll do it, and then Simco will do the fabrication.
That's a beautiful idea. If we need a motion, I'll make it. If we don't, I say we go.
Make a motion, it's a donation, let's accept it. Let's do it right.
Good idea.
Seconded.
Discussion?
Roll. Hold on.
This is the right way to do it.
All right, number 10. Mr. English.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yep.
Mr. Kennedy, yep. Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
4-0 in the affirmative. Thus concludes my report.
I got a request from the Sigma Chi fraternity at Valparaiso University to offer their help for one day of cleanup at Sunset Hill or one of the parks.
Yeah, just tell him, call me again. We took it up, that was a good day.
I'll let Jacob know.
Yeah, let's make it happen. It was really fun.
Can you remind Walter? He really pulled out the door. I'm sure he did, so.
Yeah, and I told him next time, we're gonna plan a little bit ahead, so the guys can come and, I don't know, we're gonna order pizza, or we're
Okay.
gonna, do a cookout or something for
Feed
them.
him hot
They were
dogs.
great.
Okay, I'll let him know to get a hold of you.
Yep,
All
cool.
right. Next on our agenda, where are we? We should be somewhere around NIPA.
I'm Deb Armstrong. I'm new to the NIPA board. We have a new board, RNC. We are planning, as Walter said, 4 national and state organizational shows in the next 4 years with tractor clubs that will bring in a good amount of people. And we're on board to do tractor rides again at the event, as far as I know. And we're planning for a show, so as fluid as that will be in this year. We went to get an update on the gravel situation. I know they talked about gravel around the
Yeah.
sawmill. I know the snow just came off, so I don't know.
I think we gave them the go-ahead, to get the west side done.
Pretty sure we did.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing we're waiting on the east side is to see how it would affect the cross-country trails.
Right.
Speaking of that, how did the repair to the barn go? Didn't they tear a couple of sheets off the barn in the last wind?
Oh, the roof?
Yeah, the roof.
Yeah, it's all fixed, is my understanding. I'm sorry?
The contractor that did it, came back out to
Yeah, that was my understanding, is we're good now.
Oh, okay, I did.
Yeah.
When you said that, I was like, I forgot. That probably happened 4 months ago, but that's all right.
Yeah, I checked in with Charlie not long after that.
Okay.
He said it's all taken care of, so. He was a little surprised when I told him what was going on, and so he assured me he's going to take care of it.
All right. Got any questions, Joe?
No question.
That's the man.
What's your favorite color?
What color are your eyes? That's your birthday, okay. Dave?
Nothing new, waiting for the snow to melt, so we can get going and get things cleaned up and ready for the spring. Get started as soon as we can. Hopefully warms up quick.
Right.
Well, yeah, nothing new going on. I mean, we're scheduling, now that, I've got an idea of the schedule for the events and stuff, we try to have, whenever we have concerts out there, even if it's on a Sunday, we'll be out there running trains, so. We just, we look forward to the tractor club too, maybe, while we're running trains, being able to stop and let people off and pick them up and, stuff like that, so, we're just looking forward to a good year. Hopefully, we can kick this COVID, they say different things now about it, so it's hard to say. But we're looking forward to a good year.
It's hard to say for a year. Okay, thank you, Dave. And Paris Foundation, I suppose they're not meeting hardly at all anymore, so there's probably nothing there, is there? Anything? Paris Foundation? Nothing?
Nothing of consequence at the moment. They're still doing stuff, but yeah.
Just a second for a public comment. No, that was your turn.
I forgot something for NIPA.
Oh, okay.
Can I add it? We are working with the permaculture group again
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
this year, so.
Cool.
That's good.
Excellent.
Recyc-
And since there's animal rotation, is this grazing?
Recycling and Waste Reduction said they're going to be able to provide enough compost for a full acre. The only thing that needs to be figured out is the hauling. They don't have the ability to haul that much, so I shared with Adam, going to need to probably contact a trucking company and get a quote for that. Because I
Don't we have dump
don't.
trucks?
Yeah, can't we use
What
a county?
kind of volume
Can't we
you
use a
talking?
county truck to do that?
No, I'm sorry?
The fire stump trucks?
Our dump, you would be making probably 20 to 30 trips. Yeah, not reasonable for us.
How many yards are they talking about moving?
Well,
I'm just curious.
a couple inches times the length and width of the yard. Or,
An acre.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Which is
so-
35,000? No, I'm not even going to do that math. That math's
Yeah,
too much.
it's a lot. I'll show you.
I don't have
So,
my data collector with me, it's spit it right out.
when we did the mulch at the playground, and the highway department helped us with that, which is a much smaller area, it was like 10 or so, 12 trucks that they had to use to get all that over.
What?
So this is definitely going to be more.
Maybe we'll find a philanthropic company with a lot of trucks sitting around.
Somebody with a bunch of semi-dumps.
I know some people. But I
Marshall does a lot of stuff locally, doesn't he?
What's that?
Marshall?
Oh, he does tons of stuff
Yeah,
locally.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's a phone call, and folks like that love to help, so.
Depends on if they're getting along with each other. Maybe Whitcomb.
They did really nice for us the last couple of times.
Who's that?
Whitcomb. They gave us a really
Whitcomb?
nice deal. Yeah.
Okay.
So I shared that with Adam.
Yeah, maybe try them. You can try Marshalls, you never know.
Yeah.
Depends on their mood.
And before I forgot, related to the Railway Garden, the South Shore Brass Band concert in June, their goal is to hold that over by the Railway Garden we're talking about, so putting a tent up for that, one of our tents up for them. And
Sounds
then,
like a fence deadline.
what's that?
Sounds like a fence deadline.
Yeah. But, you know, there's a member that's driving this from the South Shore Brass Band that's also a member of the Railway Guard Society, so he's trying to see if we can
Awesome.
promote the railway by hosting it over there.
Right in front of the old bathrooms. All right, there's no public, all the public that's here has commented, so I guess that's enough of that. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming, appreciate y'all showing up, and I guess we'll get all back together in April.
Ready.
All right, let it be said, let it be done.